Right.
Woo! Yay! Thanks everyone for joining. I'm filling in for Kirsten. Hopefully I do her justice. We've already had some mishaps, so fingers crossed that that's the end of it. Thank you for joining us at Coronado. Our wonderful hosts, they've been hosting us for the past several months. We'll probably have a new venue next month, so hopefully you'll join us then too. We've got a bunch of guest speakers today. We've switched the agenda around so that they can talk first and then get on. So I think first up, we're excited to hear from Anthony. Folks are first, so I can keep on your slide.
Oh, yes. Dana, you're first. Right.
All right, good evening, everyone. Including? All right, great. Thanks so much for inviting us to be here. I'm Dana Mann. I'm ADOT's Relations Assistant Director. And I have with me a few ADOT staff members. So Trent Kelso is the ADOT project manager. And then I have Jason Hart is the ADOT consultant manager. And then Alyssa is here as well from the study team. So we are here to present the I-10 Deck Park. Let's see, sorry, make sure I get this right. I-10 Deck Park Tunnel to I-10 I-17 split study. Do we have a sorry? So we're actually doing these presentations to all of the communities along the study corridor. You're actually the first one that we've come out and met with. It says Cynthia Wolf right here. That's our community relations project manager for this project, and we're trading off because we are doing so many presentations to the communities as well as the village planning committees. So I just wanted to point that out, and again, introducing Trent and Jason, and I don't think David Victor is here tonight, but he's also ours as well. So again, I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to Trent to talk about the study. Thanks again.
Thanks, Dana. Again, I'm Trent Kelso, and I'm the study manager for the study. So the purpose of this meeting is to provide an overview of the study, describe the types of improvements being evaluated, and seek your input to better understand community needs and priorities. ADOT is meeting with homeowners associations, neighborhood and business organizations early in the process to get your feedback and to answer any questions you may have. We also have an online survey to gather input, and we'll provide additional information on accessing that online survey at the end of the presentation. So regarding the study area, it includes I-10 from the Deck Park Tunnel to the I-10 I-17 split, basically the point where I-17 takes off and goes to the west down just south of the airport. And it includes two connecting freeways, State Route 51, south of Indian School, and Loop 202 west of 24th Street, including all the ramps and HOV connections. And as you can see in the green highlighted area in here, the map extends beyond these limits, and that is to account for signing and traffic control needs outside of the core study area. Next slide. So this study is the next step after completing the MAG planning study early last year. And public outreach for that study included an interactive online survey in the winter of 2023 and a public meeting in October of 2024. The MAG study identified concepts for further evaluation, including graded ramps, collector distributor roads, and other operational improvements to address safety, reduce merge and weave conflicts, and to improve traffic flow. Next slide. So to determine whether the improvements proposed in the MAG study are supported, ADOT is conducting an environmental assessment and design concept report. So the EA and DCR will further evaluate the proposed improvements to address safety and traffic operations in the corridor while maintaining regional and local access, including access to downtown Phoenix and Sky Harbor Airport. The study will also further evaluate HOV, high occupancy vehicle lanes in the middle there, and system connectivity opportunities, pedestrian and bicycle connectivity, and potential effects on historic communities and environmental resources. Next slide. So since completion of the MAG study, the ADOT team's been doing a number of refinements to the alternatives that were presented in that study, to include access from State Route 51 southbound to westbound I-10 over to the 7th Street exit. When the MAG study was completed, the study team was not able to make that connection. So that's one of the refinements that we're doing with this additional study. Also, refining potential access concepts serving Sky Harbor Airport. Similarly, at the end of that MAG planning study, there was still a lot of unknowns regarding the west access to Sky Harbor. So we're spending a lot of time meeting with the airport and kind of refining those concepts as part of this. Also, reducing community and property impacts where feasible. We are trying to stay within the right of way if at all possible. So we're taking another look at refining the geometry, and then further considering pedestrian and bicycle connections, environmental resources, landscaping, aesthetics, and constructability. So let's talk a little bit about improvement concepts that we are further studying. And the first one is braided ramps. In several locations, drivers entering and exiting the freeway must merge across each other in a very short distance. And these merge-weave areas contribute to sudden braking, to speed differentials, and ultimately crashes. One concept being evaluated with this study are braided ramps. So a braided ramp separates the entering and exiting traffic by allowing one ramp to pass over, essentially to grade separate the two ramps to reduce the need for drivers to weave across each other in that short distance and to improve safety and traffic flow. And as we further develop the study, when we come back out for additional public input, we will have concepts set for everybody to view to see if you like the braided ramps. In addition, next slide, we are looking at CD roads or collector distributor roads. A CD road is a roadway that is barrier separated and it's next to the freeway mainline lanes to allow the entering and exiting traffic to do that or to make that move outside of the mainline lanes. And if you've driven the Broadway curve, the I-10 Broadway curve project, the connection from the 60 to the 143 is an example of a collector distributor road. This doesn't eliminate every merge, but it can move some merge and weave movements away from the higher speed mainline lanes and into this lower speed area designed for those movements. And the study will evaluate where this type of concept may be feasible and what trade-offs could create. So some of the concepts being evaluated, primarily the braided ramps, could affect the existing pedestrian crossings across I-10 and State Route 51. That includes the crossing at 10th Street and 18th Street on I-10, as well as the Oak Street crossing on State Route 51. And ADOT recognizes that these crossings are important neighborhood connections for people walking, biking, and using mobility devices. So if a pedestrian connection is affected by an alternative, we will evaluate options to maintain or reestablish connectivity in that same general area. In some cases, for either the 10th Street or the 18th Street bridge, depending upon the elevated braided ramps scenario, we may not be able to reconnect exactly at 10th or 18th Street. But as we develop the study, we will present those alternatives for public comment later this year. So we also will be looking at the ADA requirements, taking community input, looking at the engineering feasibility, and of course, performing the environmental process related to those connections. Survey, the survey that's online has a number of questions regarding the pedestrian bridges, and it allows you to select whether you use a particular pedestrian bridge and what you use that bridge for. So once we get to the end here, just take down the notes on that survey location, and there's a lot of good information that can be provided there. So regarding the timeline, next slide, we are on the far left. We're currently just beginning the study process. We're developing and evaluating alternatives, conducting technical studies, and gathering input from agencies, stakeholders, and the public, such as yourself. So I think Dana mentioned we're doing over 10 of these neighborhood organizations and homeowners association meetings here over the next month. So we anticipate conducting a public meeting this fall to share study alternatives and to receive comments, and then a public hearing to seek public input on the draft environmental assessment, and the initial DCR is planned for later next year or in early 2028. So if the study concludes in a recommended build alternative, design would begin in the spring of 2028. So as soon as the study concludes, there is funding in the MAG FLCP Freeway Life Cycle Program to begin design in 2028. So, and then construction of the improvements upon reaching the completion of design would depend on environmental clearance, funding, programming, priorities, and also just delivery decisions. So a lot of those decisions are made at the MAG level by the regional council with all the mayors and that sort of thing. So right now, the way the funding is set up is it is in 2031. So once we get the study further along, then some of those other funding decisions will start to take place. So I'll go ahead and hand it back to Dana now to facilitate the question and answer.
Great. Thank you so much, Trent. So again, we're here to answer your questions, address any concerns you might have, and really learn from your local knowledge and incorporate that in the study. And I did want to mention we do have a survey going on online through June 30th. So if you want, you can take a photo of the QR code or visit our website at azvt.gov/split to take the survey and get more information. You may also submit questions and comments by email at the i10.split@jacobs.com. And we've got all the other information there on the phone number, or you can send it by mail to our office. So I did want to see, does anybody have any questions or any comments? And I just realized I left mine. I need something, but I didn't take notes on it. Okay, hold on. Let me just grab my phone real quick. So yeah, does anyone have any questions or comments about you want to share with the study team?
Sounds like it's pretty early days and there's quite a bit to do. Based on my understanding, there may be a need to do something with the pedestrian bridges. Totally understanding when you relook at it. Just want to make sure that sort of table stakes is the pedestrian bridges stay in one form or another in the future. Yeah. Okay. Great.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to be looking at how to relocate them and how to, I mean, if we could avoid it, how to not impact them. But yeah, we're committed to keeping the two pedestrian bridges in the same general area on I-10, and then
obviously the work is very well understood.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do think that especially the 10th Street is so important to connect Coronado to downtown, and I use it very frequently personally. Would there be any sort of commitment where if it does need to get moved, the current bridges wouldn't be demolished until the new bridges are functional, so that there's no period of time of delay or whatever that cuts off that access?
Yeah, I think it's similar to when we widen the freeway or reconstruct it. We try to keep the same amount of lanes available during construction, especially during the time of need during the peak hours. But we can definitely take that down. I mean, it's a reasonable request to keep that open.
And then one other thought is I also use the Oak Street Bridge weekly to access the Grand Canal to get to Tempe for work on my bike. And that bridge in particular is usually very filthy. A lot of kind of like unfortunate behavior happening there, and I think so anything that can also be done to keep these pedestrian spaces safe and well lit and comfortable and clear for people to use is really important.
Any other questions, comments?
I took this survey and it's really extensive, lots of good questions and opportunity for commentary. But I'm curious about the first thing that my mind goes to is obviously the impact of construction, how you reroute all that traffic. Survey doesn't necessarily have any questions about that. I guess is that a secondary kind of phase 2 part of the study?
I mean, really, we are so early in the process. We haven't even really begun to necessarily look at constructability to that level, but for sure, which is why we do a lot of grade separations and things like that. I mean, if you drove through the Broadway curve when it was under construction, they were moving traffic around and keeping traffic open. Yeah. And by grade separating and being able to build some of this stuff offline, we're able to keep things open. Because I don't think we're going to have much leeway in closing a lane, we're not even going to be able to close a lane. Yeah. Pretty much. So.
Seems really tight compared to Broadway curve.
It actually is. It's much tighter. Yeah, it'll be definitely more challenging. Jason, do you have?
Yeah, constructability is always, maintaining traffic during construction is always a key consideration. And when the concepts are further developed, that constructability is always a consideration during that. And then that will also feed into how things are all looks like moving forward. So when we're back out in the fall for the public meeting, we'll have very detailed plots and where you can actually see the concepts instead of just the broad maps as we're so early. Yeah. To be able to pinpoint wow, this is really important. We need to make sure we provide access here to this and that. And really, that's a really big opportunity with these kinds of meetings is be able to share these thoughts of this is really important to the community. Because it's one thing when you're looking at a project like this within the system on the screen, it's another thing when you're a resident living or a business. This is the perfect opportunity to share that information. So please do.
You said that's fall 2026. Is it this fall? That's 2026, correct?
Looking at
The public meeting.
This fall for public meeting, and that's where we'll have the preliminary concepts to be able to present. Right now, is traffic measuring working with a lot of refinements for what's coming out of that study. That study very much is similar to what can we do, what should we do, and so it's more of a you're remodeling your house or something like that going through the ideation phase. And what we're working through right now is okay, now we have a lot more information, a lot more data, a lot more things, and much be able to work through the refinements, and that's what's happening right now. And these efforts right here help inform those efforts.
All right.
Thank you guys for coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Please do, that survey is important, I think those very much pay attention to those. If you have comments, thoughts, anything after this, hop on there, share your thoughts, please.
Oh, you know what I just realized? We do have one more. We had one more slide. I think it was just more on the website. I want to make sure that it was okay. We've already pulled it out. It's okay.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. Okay, perfect. Well, I'm gonna take it. It's always, yeah, first. We're kind of like doing standing at 150, so And if you've recently arrived and want a drink, it is on the CNA tonight, so yeah, please get yourself a little treat. Cool. Anthony, do you, oh, there you are. Do you want to come on?
Hello here. My name is Anthony Figueroa. I'm the supervisor with the City of Phoenix Public Works Department. And this is Brett Geising. He's the lead as well. Kirsten.
I'm oh, sorry, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. Kirsten reached out to my department maybe about 2 months ago, and a couple of things that she requested was some information regarding our new bulk trash program, and she also had some concerns about some of the alleys within the Coronado neighborhood where maybe there was trash and litter within those alleys. And then thirdly, she wanted some communication out to the residents within the neighborhood as, again, how the bulk trash program works, / illegal dumping, how those types of issues are handled on our end, and what you guys can do on your end. So, one of the first things that we did was we started doing a courtesy collection. Our crews went out into, I'd say about 60% of the alleys that are within your guys' neighborhood. So you guys might have seen some of these crews over the last like 2 months or so. And they removed all the material within the alleys. In some of those alleys, I know Brett was out there with some of the rest of the staff. In some of those alleys, not all of them, but they were able to provide some of that education on foot, leaving material at the doors. Come to find out from Kirsten, I believe she said you guys are a team of around 4,000 customers within your neighborhood. So for us to do that door to door takes quite a bit of people, right? So we're working on an idea of like a mass mailer in a sense, where information like this bulk trash flyer we have up here and some other material that we could just mail out to all you guys in the neighborhood. So that's kind of what we've been doing over the last 2 months or so. And I mentioned we collected around 60% of those alleys. We're still currently collecting those alleys as of today. So I would say the goal would be maybe within the next, or June, by the end of this month, I'm confident we can get those collected. So with that being said, I kind of just wanted to lay the groundwork for that. I'll allow Brett to come up and he can talk more about the bulk trash program, how that works, and answer any questions.
So does anyone want anyone else? Come up, right, go up here. Behind it. Yeah, so you guys are aware, probably, I think it was into September, October of, it's going almost 2 years now since this new bulk trash program is rolled out. But it's an on-call. So instead of the quarterly, we would come by 4 times a year and pick up the bulk trash. Now it's an on-call. So now you still get your 4 pickups a year. You get to use them whenever you want to. So if you want to use all 4 of your appointments in January, you can do that, or you can space them out, or if you don't want to use them, you don't need to use them. So it's pretty easy to set up. We just change some things on our website. Basically, you just go to City of Phoenix Bulk Trash, type in your address, click the available dates on there, put your phone number, name, phone number, email address, and that's it. That's as simple it is. And we'll come by on that date and we'll pick it up. I heard one of the residents say that they actually showed up. So that's our goal. Is whatever day you pick, that's the day we're gonna be there. Now, hypothetically, even if we've had operational trucks break down, our goal is still to get out there. Some crews are working late just to get those done. So that is a promise that we are trying to make. You guys do have the appointment. We will try to pick it up. So that was one big change. The other big change is we don't want bulk trash in the alleys. We want bulk trash placed curbside, not in the alleys, because it does interfere with our weekly collections of our garbage trucks. We do want bulk trash placed out front. Now that you know what date we're gonna be there, you can put your bulk trash out the night before, or coordinate with your landscaper if you're having the palm trees trimmed. Hey, but you're coming on Tuesday. All right, I'll schedule the next bulk trash movement after that day. So again, kind of ahead of time, we always say make your appointment before you put your trash out. You don't want the trash sitting out more than a week, more than 7 days. So make your appointment, get your date, then put your trash out. Just also, so it's not so much of a blight issue as your neighbors are looking at your trash. So that was another change. The other major change that we did make was the size limits. So now before the old way was 20 cubic yards, the new change now is 10 cubic yards. So what is that, right? When I say 10 cubic yards, you probably don't know. Rough estimate, 18 feet long, 4 feet high, 4 feet wide. So it's still pretty big amounts of trash. Before 20 cubic yards, what we said, about the size of an SUV. You know, if you were to park like a Tahoe, that's 20 cubic yards, so just half that, I guess, half of a Tahoe guy is probably about the standard size. So those are like the major changes. Everything else is still the same, kind of regarding bulk trash, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. All the other programs that we do have, the hazardous waste, you have paint, oil, cool chemicals. We don't want that in the bulk trash. We do have a yearly, you get a 1 year one free yearly collection of your household hazardous waste. Which again, you make the appointment online, they come to your house and pick it up. You don't have to go to the park like you used to back in the day. We would come to you. Same thing. Another big items that we do see are like tires and stuff. So you can take the tires to your transfer station. You take out the 5 per month for free, no cost. And again, the transfer station is open to every resident too. Every resident gets 1 free dump every month up to a time. So if you don't want to use the bulk trash, you can take the trash to our transfer station. So that's still the same. I'm trying to think what else.
What about paint?
Paint is like so that has a hazardous waste. So that like I said, you get 1 free pickup for the household hazardous waste collection for that. So paint's included in that. Paint, oil, like I said, you can have a mixture of whatever. You can have like a bucket of paint, a bucket of oil. You can have an old electronics, batteries, like the iron batteries, whatever. You can have those all out there at the curb, and they'll come by and we'll send the vendors by and pick those up. So again, those are free. You get 1 of those a year. Or there's other ways to dispose of it, on our website. One of our, it's like called the Recycling Wizard. You type in like Cedar Phoenix Recycling Wizard. You can put in what you have, and it will either tell you if it's acceptable or not acceptable, or how to properly dispose of it through like another vendor. So that's kind of all I think of. Does anyone else have any questions regarding bulk trash?
I do.
Sure.
We did like a neighbor collaborative alleyway cleanup, and we had scheduled like the bulk pickup associated with the date that we were doing cleanup, and I think they had to like call a different crew because of the nature of the stuff required in a bulldozer versus like whatever they normally have. Is that something that you sorted out, or do you need to communicate like what the nature of the trash is?
I don't know. That's interesting. I'm kind of curious of what. I really don't know exactly what it is. We only have 1 equipment. We have the tractor and the rear loader. So we generally don't do community pickups. Usually it's based on address. So if your neighbor has a
it was 1 single address, so it was like someone took one for the team.
Gotcha. Yeah. I'm not sure. I know neighborhood services. They do something to do community cleanups, or they do something a little bit different. I don't know if that's maybe what happened. But yeah, so hypothetically speaking, if you see your neighbor put out bulk trash, like I'm gonna throw my trash out too, get it picked up. They're only gonna pick up your neighbors or pick up yours. They're not gonna only pick up the person with the appointment. So that's another big thing. So go on there and make your appointment because it is address specific. Make sure you put it in front of your house. You don't put it in front of the neighbor's house, stuff like that. So when I have a question, yes, sir.
What about the illegal dumping, like if you're seeing stuff that's being dumped in those alleys, not in front of the house,
Gotcha.
in the back?
Yeah, illegal dumping, to be honest with you, it sucks. So, best thing to do is if you know where it's coming from, hypothetically, you see your neighbor say your neighbor rolls it out, puts it behind the alley, let us know, we'll go out there, we'll talk to them, say, hey neighbor, don't put stuff in the alley, we'll do all the explanation. If you see the landscaper doing it, like you're driving through the thing, dumping it, take a picture of the license plate number, write the license plate down, we can track them down, hold them responsible. If you're unable, I know it's hard to police those alleys 24/7, so cameras, signage, we have no dumping stickers that we can give you guys that they stick on the wall. Anything, I always say, anything you can do to try to deter people from dumping behind your property, go ahead and do that. Also,
Our property in specific is on Oak Street, so we have in front of the house, it's on Hoover Ave, and the back is oak. way, but
Yeah.
and so and they come off 16th and everything, and then those little side alleys, there's a couple that go down off of there south off the boat, and they get dumped in all the time. It's so easy. You can get a big truck down there, they pull in, and it's done in 5 minutes. So no one's seen it, but then there's a bunch of palm trunks.
Yeah.
Out there.
Yeah, so ideally, like I said, if someone owns that, they have cameras facing down the alley, they can try to help fix it. Most of the time,
But
honestly.
so we can't call in and say, hey.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can call in, we can investigate it. Our code does say, ultimately the person who's responsible for the alleyway there is responsible for it. To maintain it.
It count against their pickup.
Yeah, you could possibly schedule a bulk trash pickup. There's ways we can work around it. But like I said, ultimately our code does state the residents are responsible to maintain that alley, property line, one half in the middle. We'll investigate it, try our best to try to hold the people accountable. Like I said, we did do some.
I could go to the front of the house and talk with people and say, hey,
Yeah.
We need to get someone to come out here, and then they call you, you get 4 times a year. I don't think people use that.
Yeah, they do have alley. I'm not sure.
It happens a lot.
You can, if that one's a high dumping spot, you can always look into neighborhood services. They have the alley gate projects where they can put gates up. They can look into that and see if that alley qualifies for the gates. That's a really cool thing. So there is some stipulations on where gates can go and where they can, but they'll definitely look into that for you guys.
One of the board members asked about that the last meeting too, was talking about being able to
Yeah. So yeah, that's through neighborhood services. So
Okay.
Yeah, we've got some information for that too that I can put out. But, yeah.
Does that cost the city more to shift everyone from the alley dumping to the curbside, everyone having their own bin?
No, there's no really cost difference. So, there's no cost difference. So I mean, there's no cost difference for us, and there's no cost difference for you guys. So, like I said, if that is something you're interested in, removing the alley cans, we do. It's called an alley relocation survey. We can do that to try to see if the majority of the people are interested in relocating services. That's something that our department does. Inspector will go around, do a survey of all the property owners. Again, it's for the property owners, not for the tenants. We want the property owners to get their votes, and if the majority agree on it, then we will relocate the services out of the alley. Everyone have their own individual garbage can. That doesn't necessarily mean it's getting gated off. Again, the gates are a separate thing. That's through neighborhood services. That's where the funding's through. They're the ones that run the gates. But at least for the trash, that's something that we can do on our end. So, sorry, yes.
The last time you guys spoke to us, it was our understanding that moving the bulk trash to the roads made the assumption that anything that was happening in the alleys was illegal dumping, and that you guys would come investigate it and clean it up. It was no longer going to be the onus of that homeowner to take care of that. Is that not the case?
No. That's our code is still the same, where it says the alley. Just because we don't have services in there doesn't necessarily eliminate you guys' responsibility from the alleys. The alleys is what it is. Even with the gates, you still have responsibility of maintaining that area. So.
And if I may as well, I think part of that has to do with, because the program was like Brett said, it's like 2 years old now, 1 or 2 years. So maybe you're talking, say, 6 months ago or whatever one it was, still more on the new side, but we can still work with you guys. With the understanding that, I'm sure you realize that we as a city, we only have so many resources, we can only pick up so much stuff. So we kind of buy them from the customers as well.
Well, no, and that was part of how they were getting us to buy in.
Okay.
I believe was saying that going to the front street means that the homeowner is not going to be dumping in the alley anymore. So anything that's in the alley isn't the homeowner's fault, and that was part of the like that was
the whole purpose was to catch the people by taking the bulk trash and putting it in the streets.
And if we can't catch them, like Brett mentioned, we'll hold them responsible.
But if you can't, are you going to be finding the homeowner?
No,
There used to be fines from the homeowner.
Right, we'll work with the homeowners. It'll become a thing where, depending on how many times, let's just say, hypothetically, we've been to your property 4 times in the last year, and we collected the litter 4 times. On top of your bulk trash equipment. We've encouraged you to get cameras, add signage, but none of that has happened. At some point, we can only do so much. But
That's fair.
we're definitely willing to help them, for sure. We're not just gonna show up and just say, it's your responsibility because it's in the alley. That won't happen. We'll work with you. For sure.
And then my second question, this, right now that you're doing, you said that got about 60% of our alley is done.
Yes.
Is this the courtesy, like, sweep for, like, a one-time sweep for us?
It is.
Okay.
It's outside of the 4 scheduled trash appointments. Yeah, it's just a courtesy that we do for the town. You're welcome.
One more question. Outside of like dedicated household green bins, are there other programs for like your regular green waste?
No, that's the only thing that we have, is just the green organics. I believe your guys' area is eligible for the green organics. So do some of you guys have the can bins?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so that's only some areas are eligible for that. But yeah, that's the only thing that we have curbside wise or pickup wise is just that. If you had the ability to say you wanted to, you had a whole bunch of green waste, you took it to a trailer, there would be like a discounted fee for a green waste dump fee at the transfer station. You wouldn't pay the normal tonnage. Sorry, it's $55 or $65. The green waste fee is a little bit less. So.
Then, again, like encouraging to get the cameras is if I have a spot where we can cover like the whole street of Oak Street. The city would want to put cameras up in my property and cover that stuff. I'd be more than happy, and they can cover the cloud cost of storage and all that stuff, right? Because I've been on that property 7 years. When I took it over, it was bare and it was $56 a month for my city of Phoenixville. Now it's over 150, 160. Water's a big part of that. But what I'm saying is you pay a lot of money to the city of Phoenix, and then, like I said, there's probably people that would be more than willing to put a bunch of cameras all up to cover that stuff, but not necessarily cover the cost of everything.
I understand. That's what we're
There's
all.
no program to like look for a grant or the city to cover a cost of.
For public works, we used to have a removability camera program. I would say that got eliminated maybe 8 years ago or so. Brett, what would you say?
Yeah, it's been a while.
It didn't work.
It did. We did catch. I actually ran that program for a little while. We actually did catch a few people. Just the cost of the cameras were kind of outrageous, and the maintenance of them. We had to have someone. We had to install it on a pole, on a power line pole. We wouldn't install it on someone's property. Have a bucket truck come out there, do it, and for us to monitor it and keep the storage clear, and just. It kind of phased out. I never officially heard like why we're just like, we're not putting the cameras up anymore.
It wasn't cost effective, obviously, and it wasn't successful either.
So we put mine on it probably.
Oh, the cameras are not, obviously not that expensive, as far as that. But we get residents all the time. Pictures, hey, there's a plate number. We send that up to the run through the D&D records. We get a name. We show up on that guy's property. We should give them like a courtesy 24 hours to pick it up. If they don't, we write them a ticket. And then if we have to go pick it up while they're refusing to pick up, we'll go pick it up. And during the court fees, we'll charge them the abatement fee. So, like I said, we're not against writing tickets to hold people accountable. And usually, like your spot, there's probably the same couple landscapers who are doing it. They've been doing it for years. We've been getting away with it. I'm just going to keep on doing it. So if we can catch us, 1 or 2 guys, it'd probably eliminate a lot of the issues. So. It's an opportunity to go there and dump it. They're been successful, so they'll keep on doing it.
I know we give you guys a hard time, but I just want to say thank you. I know you guys are doing like the best you can. You guys are really good job overall. Like really impressed with the services you do.
So thank you.
Keep the city
We try. So
If we could get some of those stickers for our next meeting, that would be awesome to be able to hand them out.
It's like early July.
Let us know. We can drop off some stickers. We did just get it. Just like literally last week, I picked up an order. We were running low for a while, so we do it. We can easily do that. So just reach out to us to Anthony and let us know. If we're not invited, we'll reach out to whoever we
We're always invited.
we drop them off. So yeah, they're just don't dump these stickers. There's size of like that lid. You just stick on your back wall. they're good for a year or two. If they start fading off, just give us a call. We can get more.
Thanks, folks. I appreciate it.
Yeah, any questions, I said reach out to us. Sorry.
Yeah, and just a plug, if you do have an alleyway that you want like some neighbors to come help you with, maybe not in the middle of July or August, but like we're always happy to like get a crew together and help as part of our like community cleanups to get like blast down like this is where we're gonna be. We're gonna take care of it. It's a fun and gross. So yeah.
Yeah, and then I could also comment too. So we homeless accounts, you know, you guys do doing community stairs program, so if you guys do have a transit issue that is causing litter, debris, and cabins, reach out to the Phoenix Stairs program, submit those. You guys don't know, they reach out to them on real services, they don't accept the services, it doesn't help them to leave, and they will clean up any mess that's not left behind too. So again, it's a Phoenix Stairs, it's management or something. So
we do have these that have like a bunch of different phone numbers and contact addresses for like graffiti busters, for Phoenix Stairs, all that kind of stuff. So if you want to pick up one of those, they're here for you. Yeah. For you. Anyone else want to? Thanks again for coming, guys.
Thank you.
So transitioning to kind of like the normal run of show, again, we want like our people that are speakers are often like the reason you came, so we want to make sure that we give them plenty of time, and then we'll get back to like normal updates around Coronado. I actually don't know if this is updated, but just membership report, we do have a lot of resident members, we've got business members, we are sort of thinking about like how membership works, so thank you for doing that. There are perks to being a member of the CNA, you get access to the tool shed, a lot of you are already members, so you know all of this stuff. But also you do get dispatched to your house if you have not gotten it. We've got some copies here that are free.
Yeah, treasurer's report, pretty straightforward, just taking over, so got access to the bank account today, first time. This seems to be like the most kind of financially stable part of the year, not a whole lot of money going out, not a whole lot of money coming in, mostly merchandise, sales this past month. And a little bit about like two event vendors on a couple reimbursements to CNA for coffees, like here. So very, very stable, 60-60 process checking and savings. The next meeting, I'm going to talk a little bit about how we're going to handle these finances going forward, what's going to be the dive in. I'll show you guys some work on expense transfer time, but I'm just getting started. So,
Will you cover like what's the basic operating costs of the organization and why we always have so much money?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I got you.
Great, thank you.
Sure.
Cool. And then if you are interested in Coronado merch, we do have some available. So we're always trying to, I guess, like enrich the coffers further. But there are things that you can do with all that money. So if you're a CNA member, you do have access to our giving program. We have different budgets for these different buckets. So please reach out. It's a pretty simple process to request money. And then we're gonna go ahead. Yes.
A question, I'm from the Brentwood Neighborhood Association over here, but I'm also a member of the Greater Coronado. Can we apply as the Brentwood Association, or do we have to apply as individuals?
So it's as individuals. We can talk about that. Let's have a conversation. I think it is usually individuals who are members of the CNA, so they pay like $20 a year membership fee. But if one of you is, like, I feel like you can request on behalf of the entire group. Yeah, but yes.
Is there a ceiling limit on your ask?
There is a ceiling. We don't have it on this slide right now, but I think each of these had like around like 5,000. We haven't done the budget for it again this year. That's true. Yeah, we just had to
Ask
transition.
for the world and get what you can.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ask twice.
Exactly, like start with your like highest bid and then we can negotiate down. But yeah, we are gonna work on like the budget for, we've got a new sort of CNA here, we've got a new board, which we'll kind of go over in a second, but yeah, then we'll be more communicative about this is what is available for this bucket for you to request. But yeah, reach out if you've got ideas, like we'll entertain it and see what we can do. On the topic of money, we have submitted a couple different grants. So we are wrapping up our neighborhood block watch grant, so that pays for dispatch, it pays for a lot of other stuff that we do in the neighborhood. So we still have the bulletin board refurbishment that we're going to do on that existing block watch grant funding. We have one more issue of dispatch that we're going to put out, and then we've also got some like yard signs that we're going to put together to try to like, make it clear that you care about Coronado, and you're, a proud resident. We also have submitted for the District 4 Love Your Block grant. That's one that is looking to, we are working with a neighbor actually from South Coronado on Brill Street to put together a program that's like an adopt a street program where like neighbors come together and say, we're going to tend to this area, and that grant would give them supplies that they would be theirs to sort of like tend to that 2x2 block area on their own with cleanups. And then that's something that we too would like advertise, we can do with all of our cleanups to make sure that people come out and help them. So hopefully that one will come through. We're also I think waiting to hear back on a grant for some signage along McDowell to sort of promote Coronado, promote Miracle Mile. That one is still TBD as to whether or not we get awarded that. And then we're also waiting approval for the community arts grant. That's what Fund North every year, which is a really fun event that we usually have in April or May. So more to come there, but those are the sorts of grants that we try to apply for to just fund these different sort of specific initiatives. We have to like really outline what we're going to use that money for every time. Any questions there? Fun stuff, administrative. Okay. Dispatch, it's out. As I mentioned, there are copies here. Also, please wait for the dispatch. Please submit your content and contributions. I know that a bunch of folks here contributed articles to this current issue, so lots of good stuff in there. We would love to have more good stuff in there. So yeah, please be a dispatch author. Yes.
Well, the stuff I contributed isn't in there, so was it decided not to be used, or you'll use it maybe sometime later?
Interesting. I don't know, but I will look into that. We're gonna have a couple of conversations after this meeting. Let's track that down and figure out what happened.
Well, I don't care, you don't use it, that's fine, but.
I don't know, do you think the editor is just like?
Really always does it.
I know, that's really strange.
What
I
about
know
that?
there have been a couple of times that articles have been lost in some sort of email trying to found later.
Oh,
So
okay.
we will track that down.
Yeah.
But we are working on it. It hasn't happened for a while, but it's right there. It goes to the office.
Yeah, could you figure
We'll
that
follow
out?
up.
I'm sorry that that happened. That's not what we want.
It's also one thing to reach out to info at the dispatch.
Yeah.
So if you'd like to write for the dispatch, be sure to write to info@ecoronadoneighborhood.com. Super long, I know, but it is written out on the website. Copy and paste.
We also, Kirsten, the president of the CNA, created a really thorough annual report. It's many pages long, and it goes over every single thing that we did over the last year. So just gives you a sense of how much this group is doing and how much we plan to do in the future. We're also hoping to use that as something that we can submit along with our grant proposals, or to report back to our city representatives, this is a neighborhood that does a lot of stuff and cares, pay attention to us and engage with us, all of that good stuff. So hopefully that's a really good artifact that kind of we can demonstrate how much we're invested and involved So I think it's coming soon. It is available now. You can download it online. Yeah. Quick May recap. We did a monthly cleanup. We've got another one coming up next month. Despite the heat, but we're still gonna try to keep our neighborhood clean. We also did a first ever photo scavenger hunt. I think we actually have like one of our finalists amongst us. So thank you for submitting amazing photos. It was a really wonderful way. It was almost like a little bingo card where folks could kind of scope out different things in the neighborhood and capture it with a photograph. I reviewed all of the submissions and they were so beautiful and like it really was a different perspective on the neighborhood. So thank you all again for participating. We also had our first ever Coronado trivia in partnership with the AZ Wilderness. So that was a fun turnout. I thought that I was going to do really well because we have so much insider knowledge and it was really quite hard. Turns out I do not know which streets are roads or streets or avenues. So it was a humbling experience. And then we also partnered with the Coronado Trinket Swap, which is like a little place where you can go swap trinkets. It's available all the time at Trace Leches. There's like a little cubby there, but we did kind of a special event and that was really fun too. I felt very proud as a QJ, but a child very early on swapped something to get their own Coronado sticker. That felt like a big win. So that was very cute and had like lots of different people coming in and out throughout the hours that was happening. And then thank you all for those of you that participated in voting for the new board. Speaking of, we have a new board. I probably should have done this sooner, but like this was our past board. Thank you everyone for all of your help. They all slide. So thank you old board, but this is actually the new board. So thank you new board too. So these are the folks many of whom are here. You've got your officers. You've already heard from JT, your treasurer. Kirsten and Carissa are enjoying vacation, so I hope they are having a wonderful time. And then I think all of your directors are actually in the room right now, so we're really well represented tonight. Please chat and say hi, after the meeting. Coming up in Coronado, so we have more events coming up. As I mentioned, we've got a cleanup that's going to be Saturday the 13th in Coronado Park. If you have ideas for places that you think need a cleanup, please reach out and let us know. We're always looking for other places. We kind of default to the park because it can always use spruce up, but if you have something that needs a cleaning, please reach out. We'll like schedule something and communicate where that's going to happen. We're starting to have like more little happy hours that are informal versus like you getting report outs like this, less administrative, more just like being friendly with your neighbors. So we'll move those around as we go like month to month, but I think we just want to like hang out with our neighbors more in a low stakes way. So please come to that. We're also doing a kids bike practice / like repair session in the park. So I'll be communicating more like when that event is happening. It's already up on the website, but like you'll see more on like our Instagram and socials, all that good stuff. But kids bikes will help do like minor repairs and help them hopefully like learn how to do minor repairs on their bikes too. And then just bomb around on bikes. Do you want to talk about
So I am getting really interested in helping our neighbors either xeriscape or like figure out how to introduce more desert plants to the neighborhood. So I'm coming up with this idea. It's called Plant It Forward. And actually, this is not an original idea. If anyone was lucky enough to know Tom Wright, that was where the Trees for Harmony came from. So it's kind of that feeling. So we've got our mission statement up here: to grow, propagate, and share desert plants throughout the neighborhood, empowering neighbors with knowledge, resources, and community connections needed to create a more resilient, beautiful neighborhood. So June 20th from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. is going to be our very first meeting. I have an idea of an outline, but I really want to hear what people are interested in doing and like how people want to help out. I know there's like lots of master gardeners in the neighborhood. At least 2 are going to be at the meeting. So I don't have a location yet, but when I do, I'll blast it out. And then I'll try to get an email thing set up too, so it's like a 11 a.m. through 12. So look for a location.
What's the venue?
What's that?
What's the venue?
We don't know.
I was just driving around the circle the other day and I was thinking about our flag, how we talk about flags. And what if we like got rid of all like the plants around the circle? Cause I have a guy that would like clean all that out, make sure the irrigation's working. And then have maybe our master partners plan something for that area. If we could drive by the next time, just take a look and then see how we can make it fun.
I think bring all the ideas.
Yeah.
We'll talk
So
about
I'm
it.
just throwing it out for the hood, cause you know how
Yeah.
we can get a little crazy, but.
I got an idea with the radio that one of the neighbors stopped by and turned on the
Yeah, if we could
water.
anyway, that would be a great project, and we did the signs on,
Even that.
yeah, and then that circle becomes like something amazing. So,
Yeah.
I'm just seeing people like engaged.
Yeah, appreciate it. That is, I think, all of the content that we have for tonight. Yeah, any thoughts, questions? Yes.
Is there one person who's kind of organizing the bike event?
Yeah, listen, yeah. Oh, if you want to help, I would love to help. Yeah,
So right now it's you?
right now it's me, yeah.
Okay, and then it's you and then I can get it.
It's me and I have buy-in from a couple neighbors who have kids and one neighbor who is good with bikes. So we got like some help, but it's not like super structured. I think it's gonna be pretty loose. So yeah, but if you want to attend, and I think I have your contact info. So yeah, I can chat for you. Other things? Did I see another hand go up, or did I catch that? Oh yes.
If anyone wants to sign the petition to put voting in constitutional right in Arizona, I have it, and you're gonna raise that.
Nice. Awesome. Cool. Well, thank you all for coming out. Yeah, again, if you want to dispatch, please take one. If you want that little card that has a bunch of resources, please take one. If you want a Coronado shirt, please buy one. And yeah, otherwise we'll see you next. Oh, yes.
I have one more question. We have $120,000 and it's not like we want to spend it all on everything, but it's kind of amazing how the giving program isn't taken advantage of as much as it should be, could be. And would Coronado consider extending its largesse to anything adjacent to Coronado or a little further afield? And of course that opens up maybe too many possibilities. But you know, there's probably a lot of things happening right around us that we could have a significant impact on. And whether you could appeal in
Fair. We do have, so I think that's something we can definitely discuss. I think we're going to work on our budget and then have more of those conversations about like what do we do with these funds and how do we spend it efficiently. Yeah.
Our Brentwood group will be putting in some grants, or some applications.
I think the feeling on the board this year is that it's time to spend down some of this. It has been accrued, we've been very judicious in saving it, but it's a good time to spend it down a little bit. So we're going to do it responsibly, but I think the plan is to end the year with like less than things there is right now, like, generally speaking. So I have all the data now, and we're going to do a little bit of analysis to see like when we spend the most, when we bring in the most, and then I think I'd like to personally carve out a larger chunk that's just like straight CA and then funds for different things. So hopefully, I'm hoping July, maybe August, we'll have like some ideas to float around ways to come after some funds. Definitely. Like we're in the same room together.
And when I went over all of those grants, like a lot of those are things that we are writing in partnership with people who have ideas, and like because we are registered with the city as like an entity that can request grant funds, we can help make that happen. If there's something that you want to pursue, and we know that the city's got money that we can access, like that's something that we can help like get through the process and all that stuff. So like the one that we just submitted, where it's kind of like an adopt a block program. That's something where, a neighbor had an idea and we know that there's funding available, how do we connect those two things together? So, yeah, for Brentwood, like, we're happy to help with that stuff too. If you need a bigger chunk of money for a dedicated initiative. But yeah, so more to come there. Thank you for, yes.
this isn't my issue, and I don't want to open up that kind of worms with it, but the alley across right there where the girls start and then go, there's a neighbor, an owner that isn't a neighbor, who owns a corner right there on Almeria and blocked it. And I know specifically the neighbor across the alley doesn't like it, but I imagine they're trying to address the fact that there's like pop-up homes in the alley. And I'm not totally against that. I just think we should allow people to have like bigger porch or some shit or someone's backyard maybe. But I don't really. I know he was upset about it because it just says private property now. Like right, if you go down the alley right there, you turn left, or if you go down Almeria, kind of turn into it. And I think he got a few people's signatures, but I'd be interested if he got 51% of the people's signatures there. And I don't know, like I know that neighbor was upset about it. I'm like, hey, there's a meeting going on. You want to go check it out? This was like a month ago, and he didn't want to come. But I think he's like calmed down with the scenario. But it does say private property on the alley, and I imagine it's like a way to address getting pop-up encampments, which I feel kind of bad about, like saying get out of here. But I don't know. And I asked the dude the other day. I saw him. He said that it hadn't deterred that much. So I don't think they have been in an alley.
It's like an L-shaped alley, right?
Yeah, the L and elbow over there, right?
Public Works was just here and he said that they have that Phoenix Cares program, which I've used personally. And people can request that the people want to camp back to their house, right? So that's how they will go about doing it, just to like put aside. There's remedies for people that they're not gonna change.
But the general rule is 51% of the neighbors in the alley have to agree to it, and then it works, right?
So then, but I mean, officially closed down, you can't just sign. Yeah, official. It's more than that. I think it's like 51% give the city to look at it, the city pulls other maps to be.
Yeah.
We do have, like, if y'all want information about the data,
Yeah, right. And I'm just curious, because I feel like it should be addressed. I think it would suck to just say private property on it, but.
Yeah.
I'll text them, I'll see what. I just rode by there.
if y'all want, like, we do have stuff about the gated alley program, and I think we can have like a few of the request forms, but you can kind of see, like, it is a pretty significant request, and like you have to gather quite a few signatures to do that, but like.
You asked about that last meeting too, remember when they were talking about that, it was pretty much like, good luck with that.
Well, it's different. I was asking about taking back the easement in it, so
Right.
if you close the alley and then everyone wants 5 feet back in their yard, it's difficult, but it's doable.
It is, but you don't want a manhole cover and a utility pole in your backyard like I do, and it's really hard for them to do anything. They're not gonna do over, you got people, they will bring over your house just to put a new transformer.
We do have the poles, I don't think my alley has the panels anywho. It's hard, but it's
Towers the whole thing.
Yeah.
Also, not totally against closing alleys. I just wonder, like, I feel like all of them should be closed, probably, you know. And then I wonder if that one was just like this private scenario. You put it up, you try to like wage other neighbors against it, even. He said he was feeding or giving water to homeless people over there, which I think he was like trying dying. Here's some water, you know. So I just wonder, but there was people living there for a long time, you know. And then we should just take over one of the abandoned houses in the neighborhood for them, or? I mean, I don't really know, but it does feel hard. Sorry.
But yeah, the Phoenix Heroes folks, we had them come speak, there's probably a while ago at this point, but like, they did talk a lot about their program and like, the ways that they try to coach people into housing in like better circumstances. So, it does seem like there are some good services out there for those folks. Well, appreciate you all coming out. We are at time. So if you have other questions or whatever, you can always reach out at the Coronado Neighborhood. The CoronadoNeighborhood.com. Thank you. It's still very long, but not as long as I
anybody want to sign? I'm right here.
That was fine. We got it.
Yeah,